Welcome back. Well, as you know from, all right, yes, your little face is in the picture. As you know from yesterday's project video, I went back to Lutz and I got something like 10 gigabytes of film there. I actually spent enough time to do just about everything I wanted to do. So we're going to take a look at least a little bit of it today, and we will get started when we come back. Well, Audie was in my lap and like all over me when I was trying to prep this video. And I promised him if he would let me do the work I needed to do, that once I started filming, he could stay. And he's definitely taking me up on it, aren't you? Well, as I said, I've got 10 gigabytes of film from Lutz, but I'm not going to just, like show it ad infinitum until it's done. I'm going to space it out. We'll probably do one of these a week until, well, I was going to say until we run out of film, but eventually we're going to go back there. We're going to get more stuff. But I don't want to bore you senseless. And as I find the time, I'm going to start sifting through that film footage and try to organize it in terms of style. I did a little bit of that today, and a lot of what we have today is mission and arts and crafts. So I thought before we actually started taking a look at the film clips that I'd talk to you a little bit about this. Now, these are both styles that came out around the turn of the 20th century. They had their origins. The arts and crafts movement was ahead of the mission. They had their origins in the 19th century, and there was an entire philosophical movement, get back to nature. The whole woodsy thing that we thought we invented in the late 60s, not even close. And there were a lot of, do you want to come up, or do you just want to, we just want to? There were a lot of people who had different takes on this. We've talked a lot about Charles Locke Eastlake because he is one of my favorites. This is an Eastlake piece right here. I like Eastlake. His emphasis was getting back to good value in the furniture industry, getting away from cheapy, mass-produced stuff that fell apart in 20 minutes, and reclaiming some older styles that had withstood the test of time. Now, of course, for him, that was Gothic. I mean, the guy was like in love with 13th century furniture. And believe me, in those days, we barely had furniture. 13th century, there was a plank of wood on top of a couple of legs, and it was like, ooh, table. So Eastlake really admired the authenticity of that. And authenticity was a huge thing for these people. And when we started seeing arts and crafts, it was sort of the American version of Eastlake, if you will. Eastlake was British, so his influences were the old Gothic furniture, the antiques that he had seen in the fine manor houses and so on, because he came from a well-to-do family. He wasn't aristocracy or anything, but his uncle, who was also Charles Locke Eastlake, was a very famous portrait painter who did paint the aristocracy. So little Charlie probably had a great many opportunities to see estates that would not have been open to the average kid from a working class background. So he would go off to the country estates and the castles and the heaven only knows what they have over there, and he would look at the old furniture, and this was profoundly influencing for him. In the US, it was different. There were no grand estates, or none with any real age, because keep in mind, in the late 1800s, our country, our land mass had only been populated for maybe 200 years, and so we just didn't have that. And what we have in terms of our historic furniture pretty much begins with the Queen Anne period, and that's early to mid 1700s. Not very old, certainly not by Eastlake standards. So they looked elsewhere for their inspiration, and the arts and crafts people were inspired by nature. They loved floral designs. When you look at arts and crafts furniture, you often see motifs like sunrises or flowers. And let me see, you can see we have a little sun here. I'm going to turn you slightly. See if I can. There we go. This is a little stylized sunrise or flower or something. It's round. It's all I know. But this was the sort of thing they loved. That's nature. It's round. They really liked this. The other thing that both of these styles, Eastlake and Arts and Crafts, have in common is oak. They both worked heavily in oak. You'll often see Eastlake pieces in walnut, but generally that's it. I would say probably 70% or more is oak. The rest, walnut, occasionally a few other woods, but wood of choice, oak. Same thing with arts and crafts. Wood of choice, oak. The arts and crafts period was relatively short-lived. The fact is that American manufacture, after we had been just a few years into the arts and crafts movement, was so good that high-quality manufactured furniture was being turned out at very low prices. You got your Sears catalog, and you could buy a solid oak American-made chair from Grand Rapids, Michigan, that was going to last 3-4 generations easily. It does. You know, there's no question the Grand Rapids furniture is still around, and I got a lot of film footage of that at Lutz too. So I just wanted to briefly give you a little background on this, because the easiest way to deal with it is let's take a look at the styles. And remember, their key word was simplicity. So you want simplicity and you want nature. All right, yeah, just like the hippies. Okay, first thing we're going to look at is this darling little piece, and it's a Mission ashtray holder. So let's take a look. Well, this little piece is Mission oak, a particular style of furniture that was part of the arts and crafts movement. So I want you to see the whole thing. $39, by the way, and let's move in. It's an ashtray holder, and Mission furniture is known for the exposed fasteners. In this case it's screws, sometimes it's wood plugs, and these little sort of pyramid endings. Beautiful, beautiful grain. Ashtray holder, you would put a large ashtray in there. Pieces like this were extremely popular, and the Mission style is, well, first of all, it's really popular in places like California, where so many of the houses are Mission era bungalows. And Of course, people want to furnish their homes in the style of the home. They did not actually have a lot of mission furniture out there, so people in California who want it usually have to come east for it. Excellent price on this, by the way, at $39. Wow. Now, this is a piece that was in everybody's parlor from maybe 1900 up until the 1940s or 50s. By then, they were getting relegated to the back porch because it was grandma's style at that point. Not because anything was wrong with them, because you can beat these things with a baseball bat and you're not going to do them much harm. Very solid construction, very simple designs, no finials or filigree work to get knocked off. Very pure, simple lines. Pieces like that, and that piece it's a nice piece. It's a good price. So, and I know ashtray holders are no longer a thing. People are no longer smoking the way they used to, and thank heavens for that. But still, really nice little piece. The next piece is not in our mission or arts and crafts mode today. It was a piece that was sold, but it was a really sweet late Victorian oak sideboard. So I think our sort of theme today is mission and arts and crafts and oak. So let's take a look at this. We have another really beautiful oak piece here. Let me see if I can back up, get the whole thing in. There we go. Really sweet. It's sold, so I can't give you a price on it, and it wouldn't do me any good even if I could. Beautiful curved glass on the sides. And here, let's slide around. This top does not look oak to me. It's finished to match the rest of the piece, but see that grain? Right up here is oak, which is why I don't think this is oak. Lovely piece. Original mirror. Notice how the beveling matches the frame perfectly. And I don't know, small sideboard, small cabinet. I'm not sure what this would have originally been used for. Pieces from this era, and this is turn of the century, this is characteristic, these wonderful little brasses. That was just a piece I thought you'd get a kick out of seeing. It's sold, somebody bought it, but it is a beautiful, small sideboard, perfect for the smaller rooms, modern rooms. I was looking at that thinking to myself, gee, somebody beat me to it, because I would have seriously considered that piece. I'm not sure the top is oak. I'm really not. The only way to be sure, of course, would be to get in there and scrape that finish off with either my fingernail or a sharp knife, but it does not belong to me, so I don't get to do that. I can only speculate. And right on the opposite wall was a Mission grandfather clock, and I have to admit, I've never seen one of these before, so take a look. We have another Mission oak piece here. And this is extremely unusual because you don't often see pieces like this. Mission oak grandfather clock. Let's just move in. Note the way we have these. Here, I'll get you up there so you can see it. The little pyramid-shaped finials. Here, exposed fasteners. Really beautiful, really simple piece. Mission era was known for its simplicity. This is oak. See how dark this is? Here, we're going to go pull back a little because this is also oak. As you can see, extremely dark. That's because of the fumed finish they used on these pieces. They wanted the oak to look dark, the way it would have after a couple hundred years. By the way, this is what the antique oak pieces in the UK look like. Not in terms of the style, they're not mission, but in terms of the color of the wood. And this piece, I'm not sure what this is. Let's go down here, take a look. All right, Mission Oak Cabinet, they are calling it, and it is. Here we go. That handle, which may or may not be original, is Mission style, but the whole piece is Mission style. Let's take a look. What I would like to see on a Mission piece are the fasteners on this shelf on the outside, because that, in fact, was a really big thing for Mission. We took a look, I didn't tell you the price on this. $2.95. Now that super dark brown oak, that was the sort of thing Eastlake went gaga for, because that's what the oak furniture from, 13th, 14th, 15th century that he was so in love with, his Gothic pieces, that was what the oak looks like. You give oak, 400 years on the English countryside, and it starts to turn almost black. And Eastlake was crazy about that, but everybody was. This piece, we spoke about this, fumed oak finish. Now oak is a lighter wood. They would take these oak pieces, fume them with ammonia. Sweetheart, I don't know what you're into, but I know you're into something. I can hear you. I can hear him. I know he's in mischief. That's why I did the comparison between the dark grandfather clock and the lighter oak cabinet. That lighter cabinet is oak. That's the color that oak is ordinarily. Brand new modern oak is even lighter than that. That piece had been refurbished. That was what it said on the tag. So I don't know what it had looked like before it became that little cabinet. For all I know, it was darker or lighter, because you can do both with wood. If you sand off the top layer of oak, if you sanded this off, you would find lighter wood underneath it. If you darken it with stain, you can you can change the color. So I don't know about that, but it was good to have the opportunity to compare two different pieces, both the same wood, with the different finishes. So what do we want? Oh yeah. All right, this is a little off our topic, but it was really nice, so I wanted you to see this. This is a mid-century Basset dresser. Now, Basset was a major manufacturer of good quality furniture, but not top quality furniture. They made really nice pieces, but we're not talking about absolutely top of the line where they were hand finishing or anything. Just good quality furniture that would have been reasonably affordable for a fair percentage of the population. This was not something you'd see in the Sears catalog, so it wasn't designed for absolutely every economic level of society. This was for the upper middle classes, but it wasn't for the super rich. that furniture is in another category. So when I say fairly high-end, I'm talking about fairly high-end for the average consumer, not for people who can afford the really fine custom work. Basset was a good manufacturer, and you can see from the details of this piece that it's nothing to sneeze at. So let's take a look. Well, once again, I took a look at the tag, perfectly marked, mid-century Basset Chest. Basset was a major furniture manufacturer, very popular in the mid-century. The drawers move like a dream, and we are at $195. And pieces like this, in this condition, are really hard to come by. Here, let's go in closer to look at those bottom drawers. Let me pull this out so you can see the profile of the drawer. Very mid-century. See, there are a lot of high-end details in that. The profile of the bottom drawers is really nice. That is the sort of thing that you rarely see even today, and that's despite the fact that manufacturing techniques have improved and it's easier and cheaper for us to do that sort of thing today. So that gives you some sense of where this furniture fell in terms of quality and consequently price. It was not the working man's furniture, unless, you worked as a surgeon. As I was going upstairs, and on the second floor at chairs, and I probably spent about an hour filming there just because there were so many interesting pieces. But on the way up, I found a nice little Eastlake piece. So let's take a look. Well, finally caught them in a style error, huh? That usually doesn't happen here. This is listed as a Victorian towel rack, but we know. We've got our turn spindles. We've got the fluting. I don't know if you can see the incised carving, the Gothic design here. And this is an Eastlake towel rack. It's beautiful. $185. Obviously, you would put your towels here in your whatever, presumably shaving gear, because it was probably intended to be a washing or a shaving mirror. Gorgeous Eastlake piece. Now, that was an Eastlake piece, not oak. I'm pretty sure it was walnut. Nice Eastlake piece, dark wood, but you can tell it's Eastlake. It has all of the characteristics of Eastlake. So I caught them finally in a style error. I don't do that very often. They're very good there. And I understand why they would say Victorian. Eastlake was the Victorian era. So in that sense, of course you can call it Victorian, but very specifically, it's Eastlake. And we know what to look for. We are looking for the turned dowels. We are looking for the reeding and fluting. That's that line-like carving. We are looking for the spoon carving and the incised designs. We're looking for Gothic ornamentation and applied decoration. That was another thing they liked. They liked applied decoration. So, and that piece ticked off most of our Eastlake boxes. One of the dead giveaways was the little Gothic ornamentation at the top, where they had the top profile was very Gothic. Again, Eastlake loved Gothic, so that's always a giveaway. But that was a great little piece. I can so see a piece like that translating into the modern era. not as a shaving mirror, of course, but as a hall mirror next to the door. You know, you got your mirror there, you check what you look like as you're walking out the door or walking in the door, and you have this wonderful little basket on the mirror that can hold keys or whatever you might want to stick in there. Keys come to mind. And then the little rails, you know, hey, mittens, scarves, whatever. So always keep in mind that these old pieces can very easily translate into modern usage. So I have one final piece that I want to show you. And this is something they called a fancy chair, and oh, it is that. But what I want you to notice going into this, I want you to notice the seat of the chair, you know, the wooden seat, and notice there is a little line that you can see, a little sort of darker fuzzy line about an inch in from the perimeter of the chair. And we're going to talk about that when we get back. We've gone upstairs, and this is described as a fancy oak side chair. And fancy doesn't even come close. Look at this. Beautiful. Cane seat. Seat looks original. Now, we've talked about this before, but if you have furniture with cane seats, see the way this is sort of giving a little, you can pull those back into shape by sponging them with very hot water and then letting it dry. That will shrink the rattan and you'll end up with a smooth seat again. Very easy fix. And look at this, the brass work, that's lovely. Okay, did you see that line? I did not notice that when I was filming, or I would have mentioned it as part of the description I was giving you. I noticed it later when I was reviewing the film and said, oh my, that chair seat, by the way, the caned seat, that was hand caned. That was not an inset. I filmed some other seats that were inset. This is not. That was hand caned. It had some give to it. In retrospect, that's actually surprising because that caning was probably fairly new. How do I know this? Because of that line. That line came from a seat that had been tacked in over the original cane seat when the original cane seat, not the one you saw there, the old one, had failed. When the cane had gotten broken, when it just, it just hadn't held up anymore. What they would do is they would put a little seat cover over it. It was like a piece of leather. So I know, I look at that and I think, I'm not sure I would want to just sit on a little piece of leather over a hole in the seat. It's what they did. And let me show you what those look like. You can still buy them today because this is how a lot of people take care of their damaged cane seats. They just put that little leather, in this case I think it's a fiber, I'm not sure that one is actually leather, but they're tooled, they have pretty designs. And did you notice the shape? Now you cut it to match your own chair, but did you notice that the shape of the design actually matched that little outline on the chair? So what we know about this chair is originally it was caned. We know the cane failed. We know someone put one of those leather or leatherette replacement seats over top of it, and they would just cut it to size, tack it in, you'd sit on it, and then someone else got their hands on it, removed that, and had it recaned, and recaned by hand. So I don't remember what that chair, what the price they were looking for that chair was, but it's probably worth it. And I don't know. I got to give that some thought. Nice piece. That is something I would definitely call an arts and crafts inspired piece. Probably not from the arts and crafts movement. That was probably early 20th century. I would bet, 1900, 1910, somewhere in there. Inspired by the arts and crafts movement that, as I say, had come along earlier. Moving into, the Art Deco, it's like you can almost see Art Deco is on its way from that chair. Sweet piece. I like it. I don't doubt that this was a handmade piece, that it didn't come out of a factory, that it came out of either somebody's workshop, a small professional workshop, or someone with a lot of talent, did it up in their backyard. Wouldn't surprise me. A lot of people have amazing amounts of talent. My neighbor Jane, we're going to have to get a picture of the chair her father made. Her father was, I believe, an insurance salesman. And he just got it into his head one day he was going to make a chair. Oh my. He made this beautiful carved Victorian side chair. She tells me stories about her father, and, he's someone I really wish I had known, because this guy had a boatload of talent. But in those days, people actually explored and nurtured their talents. They weren't afraid of making mistakes. They weren't afraid of failing. They'd go out into the workshop. They'd make 40 chairs before they got the pretty little one that, sits in the parlor today. All right, so that's what we have for today. We had some really nice mission pieces. The grandfather clock. Hold that in your heads, because this is the only one I've ever seen, and I'm quite sure it's the only one I'm ever going to see. That is, I don't know if I'd go so far as to say a unique piece, but it's very near to it. Okay, I will not be with you tomorrow. As you know, tomorrow's my day off. I hope to see you on Wordy Wednesday, and on Wordy Wednesday, we are finalizing our plans for book club, which is going to put me back to making 6 videos a week instead of 5. So yes, I'm giving up one of my days off, but book club is important. All right, have a great day. Enjoy our final closing calm scenes, and I will see you all on Wordy Wednesday.